Have you ever seen a ghost? Not the kind that rattles chains, but the ghost of the person you thought you married, staring back at you from a grainy video file. The night everything broke was a Tuesday. I was sitting in my home office, the blue light of the monitor painting my face, watching my wife Jessica perform for a hidden camera in our own bedroom. The tiny lens, disguised as a USB charger, was her own invention. Her little secret. I had just found the cloud account where it all uploaded. The timestamp in the corner read 2:14 a.m., just an hour ago, while I was asleep down the hall, dreaming of a future she was actively burning to the ground. I saw everything. I saw him. And in that cold, silent room, I felt the man I used to be die. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel, tell us where you're from, and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. It started subtly, as these things always do. A shift in the air, a coolness that had nothing to do with the biting Chicago wind off Lake Michigan. Jessica, my wife of 8 years, became a stranger in our own home. The easy laughter that once filled our Lincoln Park brownstone was replaced by the sterile tap-tap of her manicured nails on her phone screen. She started working late, client dinners at restaurants in the West Loop I'd never heard of. When I'd call, she'd answer in a clipped, annoyed whisper as if my voice was an intrusion. "I'm in a meeting, Mark." She'd hiss, the clink of wine glasses faint in the background. She'd come home smelling of expensive perfume. That wasn't tea, hers, and a vague scent of someone else's cologne. When I'd ask about her night, her eyes would turn to steel. "Why are you so insecure?" she'd counter, flipping the script with a skill that left me dizzy. "Do you not trust me? After everything?" She was a master manipulator, making my valid suspicions feel like a character flaw. The villains always feel untouchable, wrapped in a cloak of arrogance. She and her lover, whoever he was, were living in a world I wasn't invited to, and the humiliation was a physical weight on my chest. I started losing weight. My work suffered. Felt like a ghost in my own life, haunting the hallways of a marriage that was already dead. Emotional breakdown happened on a rainy Thursday. Was sitting in my car in a parking garage on North Michigan Avenue, having just seen her walk into the Drake Hotel with a man, his hand resting possessively on the small of her back. He was tall, smug, wearing a suit that probably cost more than my car. I watched them disappear through the revolving doors, and something inside me just shattered. I gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles were white, a silent scream trapped in my throat. The man who loved his wife was gone, and in his place, a cold, methodical strategist was born. That night I didn't confront her. I smiled when she came home, feigning sleepiness. The war had begun, but only one of us knew it. My first move was to become a digital phantom. I used a software to mirror her phone. I read every text, saw every call log. His name was David, a real estate mogul. Their messages were a sickening mix of sordid plans and cruel jokes at my expense. "Mark is so clueless," one of her texts read. He actually asked if I was happy today. I found receipts for lingerie she never wore for me, hotel bills. And finally, the purchase order for the spy camera USB charger. That's when I searched our network, found the device, and hacked into the cloud storage. The proof was overwhelming, a tidal wave of betrayal captured in high definition. I spent the next 2 months gathering everything, downloading every video, screenshotting every text, and printing every receipt. I met with the most ruthless divorce attorney in Chicago. Her name was Ms. Albright, a woman who looked like she ate nails for breakfast. I laid out the evidence on her polished mahogany desk. She didn't flinch. Instead, a slow, predatory smile spread across her face. "Mr. Collins," she said, her voice like gravel, "we are going to dismantle her." The plan was a work of art, a social and legal trap disguised as a celebration. I told Jessica I wanted to renew our vows. I'd booked the grand ballroom at the same hotel, the Drake, for a lavish 10th anniversary party 2 years early. I'd say it was a surprise to recommit to us, to fix what was broken. She bought it, of course. The arrogance of a cheater is their greatest weakness. She saw it as a victory, proof of my pathetic devotion. She even invited David as her colleague. The night of the party was cinematic. The ballroom was filled with our friends, family, and her entire professional network. I had hired a videographer and set up 3 large projection screens. Jessica was radiant in a white dress, a parody of her wedding gown. David was there, smirking at me from across the room. I got up to the podium for my speech. I started by talking about love, trust, and fidelity. Jessica beamed, squeezing my hand. Then my tone shifted. But sometimes, I said, my voice dropping, the person you trust the most is the one with the deepest secrets. I looked at her, and for the first time, a flicker of fear appeared in her eyes. And sometimes, I continued, those secrets are recorded. I clicked a button on the remote in my hand. The screens behind me flickered to life. It wasn't our wedding photos. It was the hidden camera footage. The entire room fell silent. Gasps rippled through the crowd as they watched Jessica and David in our bedroom on our anniversary, on a business trip I paid for. The audio was crystal clear, their laughter, their mockery of me. I let it play for a full, excruciating minute. Jessica's face went from shock to horror to a pale, waxy mask. She looked at me, her mouth opening and closing like a fish, but no sound came out. David tried to bolt, but my two cousins, both built like linebackers, blocked his exit. Then, Miss Albright, on cue, walked to the podium and served Jessica with divorce papers. A lawsuit for emotional distress and a motion to enforce the infidelity clause in our prenup, which entitled me to everything. Her career, built on a carefully crafted image of integrity, was vaporized in an instant. Her friends and family stared at her with disgust. She was utterly, completely ruined. The fallout was biblical. She lost her job, her reputation, and every penny. David's wife also divorced him, taking him for everything he was worth. They were both social pariahs. I sold the brownstone and moved out of Chicago, leaving the wreckage behind. The revenge was not sweet, it was just necessary. It was the only way to kill the ghost that haunted me. Sometimes I still watch the rain and wonder if she ever feels the cold.